And through people I knew from movies, they made introductions to me to, I think, 6 different theater agents. And 5 of them said no, and 1 of them said she would like to represent me. So with Eli Wallach and this agent, I rented a theater, and we had a reading of Visiting Mr. Green. And because Eli Wallach was in it, we were able to get Tony Goldwyn to play the young man. And because Eli Wallach and Tony Goldwyn were in it, people came, because they didn't know me. You know, and my agent wasn't someone that like could automatically gather a room full of people. I don't think anyone is. But we had a really good turnout, and at intermission, 3 different producers said they wanted to produce the play. And again, I went with the big famous one, and it was a similar ride to my William Morris experience. They held on to it for a couple of years and allowed a couple of regional productions of it, which to me were very reinforcing. I mean, it was at the Berkshire Theater Festival and was a big hit there. And at the end of it, the producer said to me, "We think you should change the play." And here's where theater and film are very different and very much the same. In theater, the playwright owns the play. And your contract always says, not one word of this play can be changed without your permission. You know, which is unheard of for a screenwriter. So I like that. You know, I learned that it's not completely true all the time, but it's a nice idea. And the contracts for theater, the playwright has approval of the director and approval of the actors, which again is very, very different from theater. So when a producer tells you what to do, you know, you can say no, you own it, but you want it to get produced. So this was a tough situation to be in, because I believed that the change that they wanted was not the change that I wanted to make. And so I held my ground, and they dropped out, and another producer came in. And so a theater contract works. It also has an option aspect to it. They option it for a length of time. I think the first producers gave me $2,500 for a year, and then the second one knew he was going to do it soon, so he gave me a $5,000. And these are all advances. All the option money that I mentioned is in advance. They recoup it when the thing gets produced. And your deal as a playwright is you get 6% more or less of the gross box office. So in theory, if you're on Broadway and someone pays $100 for their ticket, you get $6 of that ticket. You don't, and I'll explain why in a minute, but that's the general arrangement. So Visiting Mr. Green did open in New York in November of 1997, and it ran for a whole year, and which is really unusual for a play, and that was amazing. One very different thing about writing for theater versus writing for, well, film is a little more similar, but for TV, is the importance of the review. You know, the New York Times is sort of everything, and you know, the other New York Magazine matters, and Time Out, and a few other things. And it's very public, and you know, can be horrifying or the best day of your life. So mine was somewhere in between, and it was interesting. The review came out, and someone got in touch with me right away. I said, "You got a great review in the Times." And I looked at it and I said, did you read the review? But it did turn out to be a great review because it said, it said you have to see Eli Wallach in this play. You have to. In this okay play, but you have to see him. So the way it worked out is that people came, and and in those days, the paper comes out, and a few days later it's garbage, and now when you get reviewed, it's forever on the internet. So the play did run for a year, and I wish I got 6% of every ticket sold. But the producers, some years ago, added this new formula called the profit pool. And in the profit pool, they can elect anytime that they want to say, for the next 4 weeks, we're going to put all the royalty holders, which is you, the director, the set designer, and the producer, in a royalty pool. And you will share with the investors a chunk of the profits for those 4 weeks. So theoretically, you can make more than your 6%, but they're never going to elect to do this if they think that you're going to get more than your 6%. So most of the time the play ran, it was on this royalty pool, and I did the calculation when the whole thing was over. Total ticket sales. Oh, and you get a guaranteed weekly paycheck. That isn't bad, but it's not 6%. So at the end of it, I added it up, and I got about 2% of the gross box office. But most plays and even musicals in New York do not recoup their investment in New York. And by the way, your royalty is 6% going to 7% when the play recoups the original investment. And most plays don't in New York, but where it does is in productions in other places. And as Dana said before, I've been very lucky with Visiting Mr. Green because it's been done a lot and is still done really all the time. And another quirk of the deal, which I know people don't know about, is so the normal deal for a playwright with a producer and even someone like Manhattan Theater Club, if they put on your show, is they share 40% of your income for the next 10 years. From any other production, from sale of the rights, if you sell it for a movie or TV. And the rationale behind that is that most shows don't recoup in New York, and they need a way to pay the investors back, or they would never get investors. So that has become the norm.